Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated. Grenada's economy is heading for its 7th year of consistent growth, averaging over 5%. Unemployment was reduced by 20%, while debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 108% to 63.5%. NNP committed to the economic and social development of our people. NNP delivering on the promise.
It is said that education is the key to success. The Grenada Development Bank believes this to be the truth, hence the reason we have made it our prerogative to ensure that your key is in safe hands with us. Here is how you can unlock your success with an education loan from the GDB. We offer you 3 loan options. We've got our regular student loan, our work-study student loan, and our special student loan. Our regular student loan is for persons who wish to pursue full-time tertiary level education. If you are a permanent employee who wish to study while continuing your employment, then our work-study loan is for you. Our special student loan is in collaboration with the government of Grenada, geared towards vulnerable persons who would like to pursue higher level education. Remember, you must have proof of admission from a recognized institution here at home or abroad. All our loans are 100% financing with interest rates as low as 5%. Get your funding from GDB today for your tertiary level education, your technical training or vocational training, even professional development, with up to 12 years to repay. Your future success is today. Grab it now.
Only the few will see when you set the bar, but everyone will know when you've raised it.
Welcome to party. We are the greatest.
We have done it again in this, the era of greatness, with the biggest white.
We bring the most vibes.
Watch greatness unfold with Mr. Killer, Wasways, and Lava Man, and more of Grenada's best, featuring headliner Marshall Montano and the Monk Band.
We great, absolutely.
Be at the National Cricket Stadium on Saturday, August 10th. Get your tickets now from GoToFed.com and all Sunshine Promotions box offices. The biggest white. It's where greatness lives.
We are the greatest.
It's coming, the new family of EC polymer notes.
What is different about these notes?
The feel.
Polymer notes are made from a thin plastic film which makes the notes feel smoother than the paper notes.
The orientation.
The notes have a portrait orientation. You will read the notes from top to bottom instead of left to right as you do with the paper notes.
Unique tactile feature.
The front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you.
Holographic foil strip.
This feature is on the $20, $50, and $100. When you tilt the notes, the images and colors in this section will change.
New image on the $50.
The back of the $50 bears the image of former governor of the ECCB, the late Honorable Sir K. Dwight Venner.
New signature.
All the notes bear the signature of the current governor, Timothy N.J. Antwine.
EC polymer notes. Cleaner, safer, stronger.
It was regarded by many as the best fest for Carnival 2018. This year, it's back, bigger and better. The second edition of the Waggy Tea Premium All-Inclusive Fete on Thursday, August 8th at 8 p.m. at the Montrouge Recreational Park. This is not just a fete, it's a total premium all-inclusive affair. From Trinidad, WeiVybz and the band Karma. From Barbados, Peter Ram. From St. Vincent, Skinny Fabulous.
'Cause when we roll, we don't roll alone.
And From Grenada, Jefferson Ramirez and Solid the Band, Inspector, Dash, Wasways, Shortpree, Fawn, DJ Chemist, and Danny. Early bird tickets cost $350. Prepare to be amazed.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, Spice Man.
Foreigners from all over, coming down to Grenada.
Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fats, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and the Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest juve in the world, followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13th. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8th to 12th for Spice Mass 2019. Many events, one carnival.
I really love it. 2018 was great. 2019, this will be epic. This is me, Scholar, 2018 Calypso Monarch of Grenada, and I'm inviting one and all to come down to Grenada for Spice Mass, the greatest, biggest festival in all of the world. I'm inviting you to the March Gras, where I will be chasing after history. This year, the March Gras, this will be the greatest March Gras of all the March Gras. All the bards will be coming.
I want to tell Mr. Killer, come over, the message to lava, come over.
Man, if you want to win the monarchy, do head reduction surgery. They talk going around the tongue. Your head too big for the crown.
So listen to what I say. Forget Maurice CJ.
So what are you waiting for? Just book your ticket and come down. Last carnival was real bacchanal, and this year going to be the mother of all. The boom boom going to ring, artists going to sing. Pam pam. Big up for Simon, for his contribution.
Grenada's economy is heading for its 7th year of consistent growth, averaging over 5%. Unemployment was reduced by 20%, while debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 108% to 63.5%. NNP committed to the economic and social development of our people. NNP delivering on the promise.
Only the few will see when you set the bar, but everyone will know when you've raised it.
Welcome to party. We are the greatest.
We have done it again in this, the era of greatness, with the biggest white.
We bring the most vibes.
Watch greatness unfold with Mr. Killer, Wasways, and Lava Man, and more of Grenada's best, featuring headliner Marshall Montano and the Monk Band.
We great, absolutely.
Be at the National Cricket Stadium on Saturday, August 10th. Get your tickets now from GoToFed.com and all Sunshine Promotions box offices. The biggest white. It's where greatness lives.
We are the greatest.
Hello, my name is Michaela Williams, winner of the Festival of the Arts Secondary School Solo Pan Competition. And these are my colleagues.
We are members of the Full Comanchero Steel Orchestra, your current panorama champions.
Having won 3 of the last full panorama competitions in Spice Mass.
We are inviting you to Spice Mass 2019, especially Junior and Senior Panorama, at the National Stadium on Saturday, 10th August 2019.
Come and enjoy the experience, the excitement, and the skills of the players of the various steel orchestra. Suzuki Pan Wizards,
Republic Bank Angel Apps,
New Dimension,
Panacea,
Melody Warriors,
Rainbow City All-Stars, Ranroy Pan Angels, Digital Florida All-Stars,
and of course, Flow Comancheros.
After Panorama, you can join us on the road for Juve and Parade of the Bands on Monday the 12th and Tuesday the 13th of August.
Spice Mass 2019. Don't miss it.
Good morning, everyone. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. Welcome to this week's post-cabinet press briefing. With us this morning, as has been advertised, is Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, who is also the Minister for Finance, National Security, Public Administration, Physical Development, Home Affairs, and ICT. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to you, sir. This morning, we are having, in addition to the regular live coverage on GIS, we welcome a number of stations who are bringing this post-cabinet press briefing live. We have Sister Isle Radio in Carriacou, CRFM, CitysoundFM, Classic, Magic, Real FM, Star FM, GBN, and MTV are also carrying the proceedings. So we thank you very much for bringing it live to viewers and listeners across the trial and state and to the wider world. To members of the media, thank you so much as per usual for joining us. And of course, those of you who have tuned in, I hope you get a lot of information that you are seeking from the Prime Minister this morning. Without any further ado, I will invite the Prime Minister to make an opening statement. Dr. Mitchell?
Thank you. Members of the press, good morning to all of you, and of course, good morning to all listeners throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Mountain, and one worldwide web, right? So, well, I want to begin this post-cabinet briefing, unfortunately, in a sad and somber note, and to recognize the passing of Dr. Winston Thomas, who I think we all know has given selfless service in the healing and the health of so many of our citizens throughout the length and breadth of the country. Many of our health professionals, particularly doctors, after receiving serious education and the profession have given service, but in most cases have established their own private practice, which is their right. Dr. Thomas is one of the unique ones who gave his entire service without a private practice to the service of providing health care for all the citizens of this country, without exception. It is well known that he had very strong political views, but not always consistent with mine. But one thing I can say about him, in the process of doing this, he never allowed his politics to interfere with his profession. And that is something, I think, a message, a legacy that I think he would have left, hopefully, with all of us. You can have your political views, you can have your differences, but it must not affect your service to your people, because that's the number one priority. So the second issue I want to speak towards is the fact that we are in our festive season, and from all indication that things are going smoothly, and we expect them to continue in that vein. Of course, our watchword must be a clean, safe, and healthy fun. And I think it's important to recognize that so far we've seen precisely this. And the Royal Grenada Police Force must be given a lot of credit for supporting and ensuring that these activities can be done in the manner in which we just spoke about. But I do want to make the point that only recently, in fact 2 days ago, I received some video of an activity in a festive season in a particular Caribbean country, where what I saw is not something I would like to see reoccur in Grenada. We must always remember, no matter how we feel or what we wish to do, we have a responsibility to our citizens and our population, particularly young people. The message we send in the way we conduct ourselves, in no matter what area, is something that must be tempered by the impact it will have on the young ones and the young people of our country. So I would expect that we won't see what I saw on that video and what is defined as part of a carnival operation not happen here. And I am sure the police will act appropriately if any such activities is attempted. And I think all of us should be proud in supporting the police, because all of us, we have families, we children, grandchildren, and clearly we do not want them to adopt some things that are not in their best particular interests. We do have to accept, though, there are some areas, and it cannot be attributed as just the carnival season, that one of the serious concerns we've had at the Ministry of National Security is the issue of traffic problems, where there's been a tremendous increase in accidents at all levels in our society, whether it's private vehicles, trucking activity, or bus-related activities. They all must be of serious concern, because you're talking about the safety of the drivers, the passengers, and the people of the country. So the police force has been looking at all aspects. The traffic division has been upgraded in every aspect. They've been given tools, and of course, they're looking at implementing areas of technology that can, in fact, empower them to help us in dealing with this vexing problem. Even the insurance companies are feeling the problems. So the private sector, some of the solutions that we're looking at will involve the private sector in our country as a whole. I just want to now turn to the ministry. I've just returned from a management meeting at the Ministry of Finance that I'm responsible for. And just to report that so far, for the middle of the year, our economy continues to remain one of the stronger economies in the region, with another year of serious growth projected. The tourism and transport sectors appear to be the major drivers which is also supported and complemented seriously by the increase in agricultural activities in the country as a whole. The construction sector continues to be, but because of the tremendous increase we saw last year, we may not necessarily see a massive increase in growth, because last year was a very robust year. But construction sector continue to provide tremendous job opportunities and economic activities, which will continue, of course. On the labor force front, which of course, sometimes you have growth. You listen to television, you hear the debate taking place in the United States, so the growth is this and the growth is that, and the economy is doing that. Well, some people are complaining that they are underemployed and serious issues related to their ability to survive in what appears to be a robust, growth-oriented society. So we have to concentrate, one, on the employment, and not just employment, but also underemployment. But as you recall, our unemployment when we got into office in 2013 was about 40% plus. And the latest scientific results show that the unemployment now is about 16% in the third quarter of this year, 16.7% exactly. The Ministry Statistics Division, which is of course supported by regional organizations and international statistics organization, Statistics Canada and international body, UN body, they are involved. So it is rigorous statistical analysis, statistical survey that they're doing. It's not by guesswork or unscientific approach. So we can assume that the numbers they give us and are in fact pretty sound. We expect that we'll continue to see decline. Hope by the end of the year we'll expect to see further decline in that particular area. I also want to make the point that the total revenue for the first half of the year is almost $390 million, which is 3.4% more than what was collected in the first half of 2018. And if the revenue is showing an increase, it means that the economic activity logically, therefore, has not fallen, unless, of course, we got a windfall in revenues, and that has not happened, certainly not yet. So we continue to, well, and as far as our debt is concerned, our public debt, and I will give you all the numbers so that no one has a concern. I've always said that the issue as far as debt is not the number, the value of the debt, it's the debt to GDP ratio, but some people are confusing it and indicating that we need to know the number. I'll give both. So the debt at this point in time, remember we started 2008 with a debt to GDP ratio of over 110%. Today it's 61%, so there's a tremendous, and it's been lauded internationally. But let me say, today the guaranteed debt stood at 59.5% of GDP, which is $1.924 billion, which marks a decrease of 4.4% from the same period in 2018, where the public debt recorded at 63.9% of GDP, which was $2.0215 billion. Okay? In the areas, one of the key things that's driving the debt, driving economic activity is, and that's really what you want. The public sector has a major role to play, because it deals with the construction of roads and dealing with water service and all the other related education, schools, and other activities, which is directly related to the improvement in agriculture and other services and so on. But the key is to see that the public sector to helping to drive the private sector activities, to relieve the government, the public sector from the burden of creating jobs. And the more jobs that should be created in the private sector. And here we could feel a sense of elation, because this is one area I think this country has seen tremendous activity. Right, as you know, we've announced and it's on track, the Range project, 100 rooms, 6 cents resort at La Sagesse in St. David's. And that project is expected to be launched on the 23rd of August, which is very soon, 2019, and it's over $300 million in investment and employment, of course. And what is good about this, it's in the rural portion in St. David's. And there will be a 240 hotel room luxury resort encompassing 3 properties at True Blue. This is Homer Limited project with an investment over $60 million, and it's carded for implementation in 2019. The project is going to be creating serious jobs. There's also a Star Development project, a 60-room hotel and spa to develop in 3 phases at the Groom's Estate, Dr. Groom Beach in Points Lane, and that's a $56 million project. At the manufacturing side, and Renegade is one of the proudest projects in terms of manufacturing, and of course, and in terms of rural development. The fact that it's occurring in a portion of the country which really was seen having great difficulty in attracting serious investment. So the employment opportunity and the ancillary activities for people doing businesses in several areas, providing services, the expansion of activities and creating enormous jobs. And with the kind of technical jobs, a number of our students who have gone to school and do engineering, chemical engineering, chemistry, and other things, and no longer have to go abroad to find a job. Some of them are employed right there as serious chemists as the project moves towards total implementation. Right? Yes. So, and of course, it's a heavy impact on agriculture. Remember, they have contracted over 60-odd farmers, fully employed, renting their lands and paying for it, and producing the cane as a product for the whole production of the rum. And the rum is for export. They've been known. So those who are saying that we are drinking too much alcohol and we're bringing in more, we're producing for the world market. And we believe that since it's a special product, we're not going to be creating any problem for the world, the peoples of the world, because they get in a very special project. They could slow down the drinking and other things and not as useful. It's almost said to be one of the pure type of alcohol activities. So, and far as the social, and of course, there are a number of major projects. The project expected the Rex Grenadian Hotel. Remember, that has been taken over by Sunwing, some property. They have massive construction going on down in that place. They expect to be able to finish the first phase of that development by December. They want to be able to open for the winter season. They don't want to lose the winter season. So that is done, and as you know, Kawana Bay is on now. That's whole hotel that was leveled, and now construction is in full blast. And then there's several other top activities. I have all the list of activities here that are taking place. Many of the home buildings, the apartment buildings for students' accommodation and other activities. A massive amount that are taking place in the south with scores of jobs, because these people have to employ lots of people to be able to maintain the properties. And so we continue to see serious, robust activities throughout the length and breadth of the country. My proudest thing is on my recent trip to North America. I went to Montreal, Toronto, Washington, Baltimore, New York. We had tremendous discussion with range of opportunities, and one major group, the group from Hong Kong, which is looking at that major development in St. Patrick's, a major development. The project is they've already invested in the lands, and of course now doing designs, which of course that means a lot of expenditure taking place. You're talking millions and billions. This is almost a $1 billion plus project. They're talking about $2 billion, but I'll be satisfied with one. I don't think so St. Patrick's can feel a sense of elation, and the whole of the north side, because the connection with our sister island Carriacou, they would feel the benefits of that tremendous development. So it's all meaning one thing. As we continue to do, we got a lot of good things going for us. We have problems, clearly, and we'll continue to have problems, but we are making tremendous strides. Unfortunately, sometimes you hear more of the problems that we have than the little ones that we have, and we sometimes call it big, when in fact we do not hear enough about the most important things. I just want to comment briefly on what is considered, some people call it the phone gate. I hear they call it phone gate, water gate, phone gate, brief gate. This one is phone gate. What? Play gate. Banderan. I'm the lucky man in all this, right? Okay, fella. Now, just to say that I think I've spoken on that issue. One thing one has to accept, and maybe my years of experience in this business have taught me, you have to prepare for things not going the right way you want it all the time, on a daily basis. In fact, you're in your own home environment, private life, you know that things happen to you a lot of times. Events around you occur, and you have to be ready to deal with it, not to just moan over it or complain over it or blame everybody else, but accept your responsibilities, correct it, find solutions, move on. That's the formula for everything, whether it's in your private life, whether it's in sports, whether it's business, political life. That formula will always suit you right. Always examine your role in what occur first. Never blame the next person first. Look at yourself. Take your blame, and then you examine who else. So the government has accepted full responsibility because we are leading, and all governments in the past, and the numbers and data from previous governments will also be given soon, and you will see what I'm talking about. 2008, 2013, the numbers are something else. So we want everybody to accept their role. I accepted mine, and so on. So we want everybody to accept them. Doesn't make it right, but accept it. And clearly, there's an old saying that no bad breeze blow. When something happens, sometimes it opens your eyes and it gives you to look at not just that issue, but other areas of weaknesses that you may be overlooking. And you might find out that it give us an opportunity to assess. I've just come from Ministry of Finance, and that's what I'm saying here. I repeated the same thing there. Guys, look around us and look at the other areas. Look at electricity, look at this, look at that, look at all the things. And ask yourself if we are making sure that we are not wasting taxpayers' money and so on. Examine this. So we are looking at solutions. Now with solutions, tighten the auditing department of government. This, looking at all areas of controls. Looking at responsibilities, a phone bill or electricity bill or water bill comes from government, from some company to your ministry. You don't just sign it and send it on for payment. When each of us get our bills, what do? We check it. So if the water bill goes up too high, we call, well, what happened? It happened to me too, And I call and say, how come that thing reached $1,000 and of course I'm paying $75? And if there's a pipe that bus. But if it's government, we paying without asking, where's a pipe that bus? So the pipe may be running for months. But we have to examine it, every bill. And if we are doing that, if every person was responsible for accounting in the public sector, if we were doing this, then we will not be talking that problem here today. So it's a breakdown at several levels. And that is something. Clearly, the service providers cannot duck responsibility. So to say, oh, the government should have checked the bill. Oh, well, maybe the Prime Minister and his team should have been asking for bills. Oh, how could I be asking for bills? Telephone, I have so much work to do. I can find out about bills. I don't even know my bills home. People do it for me. So, but the point is, we are having to put that system in place so we could assure the population, as long as I'm in government, this will not occur. And we are working. The service provider leadership came in to see me since I came back, and we've looked at several areas that we can, of course, advance controls and so on. And we're looking at several options. If the service provider cannot give us cannot ensure that these bills do not go beyond the limit, it may mean that we have to look at another method. Maybe give people a standard amount and they are responsible for their bills. That's an option, but there's some risk related to that. I'm just giving some broad things now. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I'm just saying if the service provider works with the government and with the different ministries in providing that mechanism for control, then may not need to look alternatively. But in any event, nothing should prevent us from examining bills on a monthly basis in a serious way before. So I make this point for what it's worth. I do want to say this, that our brother Damian Daniel once again has made us very, very proud. Our sporting personalities in several areas, whether it's cricket, football, athletics, swimming, netball, they're all in their own way of making us proud. And sometimes they don't get our cultural artists. They don't always give us, they don't always get the credit many of them deserve for what they're doing and the performances that they're having and the impact it's having on the country's image as a whole. So I just think we need to take this I want to take this opportunity to commend Damian Dan. He's a very disciplined young man. He says he's not eating this, he's not eating this. While he may like it, because he's so concerned about in preparation. No one could ever accuse him of taking any additional stuff that can defile his body, just to blow up his body. He's very conscious of this. So we are proud of individuals like himself. I also want to compliment the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Traffic Division in particular for recently bringing many of our, what you would call, we sometimes call them vagrants or destitute persons in the streets, taking them in and giving them food, cleaning them, giving them new clothes, and they say we have seen some of them in the street and we can't believe it's them. So I just think we need to come. Sometimes people do things that they don't have to do, and we don't even recognize it and we take it for granted. But if they make a mistake, then we start shouting all how bad they are and so on. So I think it's important for me to just mention this briefly. And colleagues, there may be questions and so on. So I think I should stop here. I've spoken for such a long time enough, and give you the opportunity. I welcome the opportunity that you ask any questions outside related to what I've just said or any other issue. You don't usually get me often, so I know some of you have been asking about me, whether I'm okay or not. I hope you are satisfied. And I thank you for your concern about my welfare, to say that I'm doing fine.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. As Dr. Mitchell would have indicated, the floor is now open for questions. Members of the media, as per usual, please identify yourself and your media house before you ask your question.
Good morning, PM Eugenia from GBN. My first question has to do with what we call the cell phone scandal, phone gate, whatever name we attach to it. It has to do specifically with we've heard from Mr. Scott that he's willing to commit to his responsibilities for a repayment. I wanted to know specifically what arrangement has been put in place in terms of Mr. Scott's payment plan, if there is one. Is it that he will be doing a special arrangement with Digicel? Can you clarify? That's the first question.
Well, first of all, let me make this point. It's very unfortunate that we have a massive problem, and all we're talking is about one individual. It's extremely unfortunate. There are a lot of culprits in this game, and I don't know that it's fair to single out one culprit. And you know that I use the word culprit because all of us are culprits to some extent. So I think the reason that Sheldon has become the issue is because of what is perceived of his association. If Sheldon was associated with another political organization or have no association at all, and the bills were far more than it is, we would not have heard anything, which is unfortunate. Yeah, it's extremely unfortunate because wrong is wrong, no matter whether the person is the son or brother of the Prime Minister, or friend of the Prime Minister, or friend of anybody in opposition, or a business person. Wrong is wrong, and we must call it out, everybody. So I don't like the fact that it's only one person named that I'm hearing about. I like the fact that there's several other names. We shouldn't call names, but if we're going to call out all of us. So, going specifically to Sheldon, as you know, I just came back. I was, of course, while I'm abroad, I'm in contact with people, and I gave my own suggestions as to how this should be handled for everybody, including Sheldon. If you weren't working with the government, you ought not to have been using phones and assuming that, well, heaven's paying for it. Somebody paying for it. So it means, therefore, we have to be able to recoup that. So the policy is being put in place, and arrangements are going to be put in place. As I've said, that Digicel has been in touch, so we'll work this together. And since all of us are at fault, all of us have to make sacrifices. I hope that speaks to a suggestion of what I'm, without going into specifics. So the individuals are at fault, the government is at fault, the service provider is at fault, so all of us must make some sacrifices to correct what has happened. The taxpayers must not bear the brunt of our lack of governance and accountability. I hope, Eugenia, that I answered your question. I had to go around in a circle to do so.
I realize that. There is an issue in the air. It has to do with what has been said that you have requested security personnel, a special payment arrangement for security personnel who were supposed to have been on vacation and that they were called back or offered some sort of payment. Can you clarify for us what is the arrangement for that?
I'm very glad that this was raised. It's only in Grenada the issue of security becomes an issue all over the ground. Security is a very special thing. And therefore, one should be very careful of any interpretation that special treatment is given to anybody. The security of the Prime Minister, as you know, is a very serious issue. There's a rule in place about public servants and the limits of holiday that they can accrue. I would tell you this, if you, many of you may not have heard this. There's an ongoing case today where a senior member of the police force went to some persons in my security detail and tell him, what you're doing around the Prime Minister, get away from him. You know what that means? The suggestion is you could interpret it as what you want. Let somebody kill him. In other words, you can put any and anybody around. I am not going to accept. Trump will not accept. No prime minister in the region will ever accept any and anybody in the police force around them for the private deal for many different reasons. You can project what they are. So since there is a law in place for limit, not they were brought back in. No, that's not true. It's not true. Leave were accumulated. And all these guys said to, the law says you must take it. I said, no. So when you take it, who's going to protect the Prime Minister? Just pick up anybody anywhere and put them around the Prime Minister? Unless I don't like my life.
But can you specifically speak to, because I understand, or what I'm hearing is that there was some payment arrangement for vacation put in place.
No, I'm coming. You asked my question, I'm coming. All I did was give a preamble, because that's important. Because otherwise, all you're hearing is about payment. You're not hearing the rationale. Now, so I'm saying there's a law. The persons who go in have to go on leave. The exposure to the Prime Minister. I decided I cannot do it all these individuals. So the choice was either we pay them and keep them to protect the Prime Minister, or let them go and bring new people around me for 6 months, 9 months, in some cases a year and a half. Well, no way. In other words, this is a decision that I made. No one else must get licks for this. If there's any licks, it must be on the back of the Prime Minister, not the police commissioner. And I don't see, to me, there's no news in this. I heard people was on radio talking about this. I say repeat it several times because it's the right thing to do. It's morally correct and the right thing. Are we going to ask these poor guys, who else, everybody else get their holiday, not to get holidays and to lose it? But let me say this. So each person, I had several members of the police force, when they heard about the decision, came to me, friends of mine, and they wanted, I said, wait, the decision was not to pay people for leaving. The decision was to pay people for those who refused to allow to go and leave. If you work in the traffic division, they manage themselves. You go on your leave and others come. If you're working with another area of administration in the government, say, the police force, whether it's deputy commissioner or assistant commissioner, somebody else chip in while you're out. There's no major security issue there. I'm talking about the office of the Prime Minister. So, decision was made by me. And people agreed to pay people instead of allowing them to go. In other words, I could not agree. Some of my best friends in the police force wanted. I said, no, the decision was this. I said, if I ever give you, the whole equation falls down and it becomes a preferential thing. It was not a preferential thing. So it must not be felt that the only friends of mine are the ones in the police force are the ones around me. That's the implication. I have very close friends in several areas of the police service, very good friends. In some cases, family members. But they cannot qualify because they don't fall into that special category of protection. The only other police officer outside of those directly connected to the Prime Minister that received that payment was Tafao Pierre. And that, you know, for me, I would know that the perception would be that if he's given, then it will look as if it's a preferential thing. So, we examine it. The Pierre heads the FIU. As you know, right now, he would about go on over 200 odd days leave. Right now, we have the FATF. If we don't get it right, the country will be blacklisted. There are many serious private, that's what I said, security is not something for the average fellow on the ground. Several key decisions that he's involved with, that if he goes, will be affected negatively. The decision was, do we risk the name of the country? Do we risk the security problems? Or we allow him, or we pay him? Because again, if he doesn't take it, he loses it. Is it fair because his wife is a minister for him to lose it while others get the opportunity to go and leave? We made a decision. They didn't ask for it. Others who came, I said, my friend, it's not of a critical nature. Therefore, it's not a relative of mine. I know him only through my relationship in the police force. I have friends who are personally connected to me who are in the police force, and they could not get. So I hope it is clearly understood. Don't blame anybody. Blame the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security, who has a fundamental responsibility for the security of the country. So I hope that will rest the case. So I'm very happy, Eugenia, that you raised this question. I expected it, and I'm proud. Somebody called me and said there was somebody on a radio, somebody should be in Monge on a radio talking about it. I said, tell him repeat it several times. Every day he should be talking about it. Tell him I'm proud. There's no scoop in this, because let me make the point. If I was the one who was responsible why this telephone information came out, because I became concerned. People don't know this, Certain things I was hearing, and it got me worried. In a staff meeting at the Ministry of Finance, I asked directly to over 30 people sitting there that I want these telephones bills. And it was read out in a staff meeting. So who came in and they had some scoop or they get some information? It's the Prime Minister who's the one. And the gentleman said in the meeting, Prime Minister, we check and yours is one of the smallest. I said, so that means I'm not responsible? I'm not proud of this. Whether my bill was the largest or the smallest or the medium size, the fact is I'm responsible as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Government monies are being wasted, so it didn't give me any glee at all. It's still fundamental weakness on my part and the government.
Just finally from me, PM, can you provide us with an update on the shrimp farm investigation, please? It started earlier.
Well, I can't give you I don't know the latest information. I would have had to check to find out what is happening. All I can say is, one of the problems I have with the entire system is the slow pace in which investigation. I wish I had a way of ensuring. There are things that I'm investigating right now that I would like to see tomorrow. What happened inside the public service, even the press don't know, that I've indicated and directed that we need to deal with. And some of these officers are still working in the same positions in some cases. But the system is grinding so slowly, and it's causing me a lot of concern. But if you make a noise and say you want to interfere with the judicial system, you want to interfere with the police, you want to interfere with this, and it looks as if we are not doing what we're supposed to do. And I'm frustrated, as I indicated, about this and many other issues where I believe that we could be far more aggressive than we have been. Okay?
Sherry and Noel, GIS. Dr. Mitchell, I have a couple questions. The first, I want to speak to the 16.7% in the third quarter as it relates to unemployment.
Yes.
And you said that that is projected to decrease even further by the end of the year. What are the plans in place to see that further reduction?
Well, I mentioned several projects.
Oh, so it's through construction.
Not only that, there are several initiatives in skills training. We have been seeking the agreement by our friends in the international community, the Canadian government, the IMF and so on, to help us with personnel to make sure the training programs that we are setting up in various parishes will not become another Imani, where people are continuing to work and be paid by government. But they're trained, they're empowered for the specific training to create a business. And they provide a service, they're paid by the service. So they're no longer the problem for the government. For example, we initiated a project in St. Patrick's, where we bought a building and we brought in a number of young people, trained them with some experts. They are now ready. Furniture making. Therefore, the Ministry of Education should not be buying furniture for anywhere else. They should be buying from these people. So we're empowering them, and that's the plan. If we don't do it properly, it means it will become a constant burden. It's become another Imani, a furniture Imani program, nonsense, and so on. And so several other areas, we provide serious service. For example, the issue of many of these tourism sites. Granite Tank is an embarrassment, right? We have a beautiful place there where we should be contracting that out to the private sector. Government can't run those places. I've been in government enough to know that we've tried all kinds of means. No matter who you get, the situation has continued to deteriorate. A private sector takes this place. The agreement is that you're doing X, Y, Z. You pay government a fee. Government collects its fee. You collect revenue, protect the government, improve the place. Tourists happy. People happy. Jobs are created, not like now. And the government also is happy. We want to do that in several areas. We've done one of the first ones is Annandale Falls that we contracted out. And we want to move to every single area. So Lepers Hill, all these things. These are tourism sites. You go to some places and as a tourist and you see what they provide, what you're going to pay $10 US to see. I always give the great joke about two crab fighting. You know what I mean? And man paying $10 to go and see that. And they train the crab to fight, you know. But we're still paying for that. But I'm just saying to you, that's several areas, not just that area, that we believe that we can create enormous opportunities. So besides the actual construction and activities, like when the hotels are built, like Range, you're talking 300 plus persons employed. The one in St. Patrick will be close to 1,000 persons when it's full in train. So the jobs are going to come. In fact, the challenges would be ability to get the people here trained appropriately to take the jobs that we have. That's why training, we have to go on a massive training program, hospitality arts and all the areas, security services and all the areas of opportunity. The situation looks exciting, but it's how it's managed.
You also made mention, and I didn't quite pick everything that you said about, I think it's a project to the north, St. Patrick, and yes. You said there would be a link for Carriacou. You could tell us a little further?
No, I'm saying if you have a major project, we're talking tourism, it might look like you have a jetty service and all kinds of stuff there. It means that boats can come, an activity from Carriacou can provide service to the people of Carriacou, and people of Carriacou can provide some sort of service to that particular property because you're doing wide range of activities. In other words, you're more connected to the islands, Grenadines and so on, not just Carriacou and Pinimarnik, but to the St. Vincent and all the islands are close by. So you might be able to see more increased tourism activity because of that connection. It will have impact on St. Patrick's, St. Andrews, St. Mark's, and St. John's. And this is what we want because in the past, every single major activity has been occurring in St. George's. With what you have, everybody moving to St. George, then you have a housing problem, you have a sewage problem, you have water problem, electricity problem, road problem, because everybody coming on here looking for work. And you can't blame them. But if you create opportunities in the north, you're going to be easing up a lot of social problems which we now have in the country.
And on a side note too, I know you mentioned we're expecting, well, most people say it's the largest carnival ever that we're going to have. I know you're head of security and everything, and press brief went on about, the whole security detail. But from where you sit, what sort of feedback have you been getting in terms of hotel accommodations and everything?
As you know, we're limited in hotel space. Hopefully next year with this Rex going back on, the former Flamboyant will be back on with much more rooms than it had before, and several other properties, the View Hotel property, all local Grenadians involved. and the various other activities. Next year, we'd expect to see being. But what is happening this year, a lot of private people are getting a piece of the action because for example, my sister, children and grandchildren was coming and they asked me to get a hotel. There was no hotel space. So they had to get a home. So they were able to rent a house. They're coming in this evening. And so a lot of people are doing that, renting homes. People have properties since after the World Cup. People got into this special arrangement with the tourism board, and therefore a lot of people are benefiting from this. And of course, a lot of people now have to stay with families. Probably not the ideal thing that they wanted, but at the same time, this is what we have. But we expect a massive influx of people from around the Caribbean and outside. When I was in North America recently, everywhere I go, people tell me they're getting ready to pack up to come for this carnival in Grenada. Yep.
PM, in relation to
Eugenia, before you ask again, I think there are other members of the media present, so just give them an opportunity.
Good morning, Dr. Mitchell.
Morning, my friend.
For the benefit of the press secretary, my name is Callistra Farrier. Dr. Mitchell, you said you spoke on the security issue, and it seems as if there isn't a backup for security. You have these 14, I believe it is, trusted men around you. You also said something very concerning about a senior police officer approaching these people, which has led you to believe that people may want to assassinate you.
Okay, go ahead.
Bear with me, sir. So I'm wondering, there appears not to be a backup plan for something as serious as securing the Prime Minister of the country. Is there a backup plan? I mean, they are human, they will get sick, they may die, we're not wishing that, and so on. So is there some sort of backup plan, one? And two, who is responsible under our laws and statutes? Who is responsible for assigning the detail for, while of course you may have your personal preferences of people who you would prefer close to you, what does our structure say about who assigns the security detail for the
First of all, I don't think the issue is a backup plan. The issue is, do you have a cadre of persons, maybe 50, 60? We don't have that. So you do have people. When I came into government, for example, I was given people. 90% of the people, I didn't know them at all. And that was, to me, a little bit of a concern, but that was the case. So rarely what you have is a number of persons. Each team, they have 2 teams. Each team works 3 days, and they go off to their family, and they get a break, and they come back 3 days afterwards to continue to work. Now, you can say maybe we should train twice that, 28. But I don't know it is as simple as that, because I have to get used to this. But ultimately, the commissioner has responsibility, but he can't tell me. I must also feel a sense of comfort. The person might be very nice to the commissioner or whoever it is, but they might have their little gripe with the Prime Minister. And for different reasons. The commissioner is not a politician. The commissioner would not be making decisions on a daily basis which might affect some people negatively. You have to accept that. And I always tell my colleagues, if you are too popular as a minister, that means you're doing your work. Because there are some issues which requires tough, unpopular decision, which will anger some people. And since you want to make decisions that serve the best interests of the majority, I don't see how you could satisfy every single person. And, I tell some people sometimes, I'm sorry if you vexed with me, but it's not meant for you. It is meant about the overall benefit to the country. And you may be my friend, but sometimes I have to tell my friends, I can't do this, and so on. So I'm saying to you, we have not had this massive amount trained. So the alternative is either you let them go and just take anybody to bring on your details, or you pay them for the time that the public service says that they must take leave, and if they don't take it, they lose it, and which is unfair.
This term of office, there's like about 3.5 more years remaining. Are we to expect that none of these 14 officers will be getting any sort of leave during that period? And are you not concerned about their performance being affected by not getting leave?
We would have to look at all aspects of this. In fact, what it means that we may have to look. Don't forget, that's the first time we've had to do this. Yeah? But by the way, you know what is strange about this? Several times in my last, but this is about 18 years I'm in Prime Minister, people have come to me, that one has nothing to do with justice security, and said I have a serious problem. Policemen, some of them not known to be supporters of the government. Either my wife's sick, my child education, and they can't find the money in the bank to give them. I have 100-something days, Prime Minister, can you give me a special, as Minister of Finance, can you paid leave for me? And we have done it on a case-by-case basis, not security, but you never hear a word. And many of them are not supporters of the government. Some of them was most active against my own political party. So I wasn't doing it based on political things. It was a need. The police commissioner and others verify the situation is serious. We help the person. So I'm just making a point that this thing was a special situation that we had to confront and deal with appropriately.
Okay, so from a practical standpoint, are they not going to be going on leave for the duration of this term in office?
No, well, they could go on leave, but we have given leave, you know. People have taken leave, but the mass of them was one time, and that we couldn't do that. The thing was brought to our attention that many of these guys have leave for all this period. They must take it. They got directive, you know. So it's either we allow them to go and find people. Now we know a problem. We have to look at how we manage the situation better so that we don't end up with a problem as we had before.
And any indication of how you intend to manage the situation? You did, I mean...
Don't forget, this is something done with the commissioner and others.
Yes, I mean, the security of the Prime Minister, any Prime Minister, is a very sensitive area. So are you now, without giving me details of the plan, obviously, are we now looking at creating a situation
where we
have
to do that in conjunction with the commissioners and a major part of the police force.
Okay, Dr. Mitchell,
Kalisha, I think you just had 3 questions. Let's see, there's one other person who didn't have an opportunity to ask a question. Can we see if he has any, and then we can come back to you and Eugenia? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Press Secretary. Good morning, Prime Minister.
Good morning. You're the only man among the 4.
Yeah, and I feel wonderful to be among the good folks. Right now in Trinidad, we have an issue that's ripe, the immigration of Venezuelans into the country. Yes. So the question too is, what's Grenada's stance on Venezuelan immigrants? Because we're like close to Trinidad, so we like the next stop.
Well, we're not encouraging people to come here because we already have a problem of employment we have not solved. So we're not in a position to take in massive people. And we're very sympathetic to our Venezuelan brothers and sisters. That's why we've been pushing both sides in the political fence. That's why Grenada took a very neutral position when others want us to get involved one way or the other. Those who say we must support the present government of Venezuela to continue the situation, we said no, we have an issue with this. Those who say we must support a new president elected outside the country, nonsense. I don't want a part of that. I don't care who's behind it. The people must decide. So our solution was bring both sides together. All of us put our pressure on the group, both sides, and maybe resolve it with a national elections agreed on by both parties with support of the international community. If they're taking our views, which I think now many of them are now moving to do, because some of them, everyone felt they had the advantage and they could have got full power for themselves. It doesn't work so. If they had done this, that problem would be solved, and Grenada wouldn't have to worry about people coming here. Trinidad wouldn't have to worry about the problems that it now face, and we're saying that is still our position.
Okay, and follow up. I know we have dealings with Venezuela in terms of Petrocarib. How has the turmoil affected us economically?
Well, it means that we have not been able to get resources from Petrocarib. because there's no petrocurve, technically speaking. And even what we owe the Venezuelan government, we can't pay them because there's total blacklisting of financial activities. This thing is so sensitive that one little transaction we tried to helping a student to petrocurve sources, and the money was blocked. He couldn't meet the poor student to get paid because somehow the U.S. found out that the money was coming from petrocurve fund in Grenada. So it was blocked. We had to provide evidence that it was not going to the Venezuelan government, and that's been done so we can get back our money.
Okay, so my final question on a lighter note. What's your take on the quality of calypsos and soca that is outright for 2019?
The truth is I've not been able to hear too much of what I've heard is secondhand. I've listened to a little bit. So far, from indication, it appears that the standard has been lifted. That's the perception of people, and that there's stiff competition for in terms of who will be. You know, sometimes in a carnival season, you get the impression that almost everyone is saying this person will win. What I'm hearing now, they have so many different projections of a possible winner, and that's extremely healthy. I have always felt strongly that calypso, by itself, by nature, as its one of its fundamentals, political commentary. And if you're in office and nobody sing a calypso about anything you do, something wrong, something ain't right. It's just how it's done. And so far this year, it's very, even me can laugh about myself. And I think that in itself shows the art form of calypso. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, how you do it is important. The message still goes out, but it doesn't look nasty. And I don't think, from what I'm hearing, that we have had nasty calypsos as we have had in the past, where people's names are being called raw and plenty in a derogatory manner and implying all sorts of things, and some of them very false. I don't think we have heard that. I certainly have not seen it. I have not been to tents. Usually the tents have much more flavor than the official competition activities. So I can't. So far, so good from what I'm hearing.
What's your favorite song?
Well, really, I don't know. They tell me Beast is very good, so I don't know. So I don't know. The album, I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. I haven't seen it. When I see him, I'm asking for a copy. All right, guys.
Well, Dr. Mitchell, there's a young lady, Candy, who did one. The government is on strike. You should have a listen to that one. You might like it.
Yes? Good.
Yes.
Well,
a new lady on the scene, and she's still forming herself.
Yes?
But she's,
where's she from?
I'm impressed. I believe she's from St. Patrick, Chantemelle, yeah.
Calypso seem to come a lot from St. Patrick.
From there, yes, yes.
All right, guys, thank you.
Dr. Mitchell,
yes.
The press secretary did promise that we would get a third or a fourth bite at the apple. So very quickly, sir, if you would indulge me, I would like an update on a situation with the Consul General. I know Derek James was no longer there. So could you update me on what's happening there, sir?
Where?
In New York?
In New York?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Well, the gentleman by the name of, what's his name? His brother used to be former ambassador to Pursue. Pursue, not Pursue. He is the person that's appointed. I don't think he's received any formal thing from me. He's operating in that manner, and I think work has been done by Foreign Affairs to rectify his situation. So I mean, I've been there recently, but I don't think he's indicated that he has not yet received his official status. But he's been employed.
Okay, and Dr. Mitchell, finally, several weeks ago, the entire nation, you are one of the most loved prime ministers we've ever had, and the entire nation had heard that you were unwell. My mother was certainly very concerned when she heard the news. She called me for information. I had none to give her. But can you give us some information on what would have, without giving us your medical records, can you give us some information on what transpired, sir? And a question that I asked...
If you hear my medical record, you'll be very happy. No, I'm sure, Calistro, and for all of you, I don't think it's the first time you heard that I have collapsed and a heart attack, and I'm very sick, and so on. And this has happened several times. Family members are calling me, what am I hearing? This is not the first time. I heard I wasn't supposed to be in hospital here, and they rushed me off. I left here, normal flight, to go and do my business, and so on. No, I am fine as far as health. One thing you know about me, that whatever has to happen to me will have to happen to me without my encouraging it. I'm very conscious, and I've always cautioned people, don't wait until something happens. Men know what normally happens to them. Go check yourself. Exercise, eat appropriately, don't use drugs and other things that destroy you and create problems for you. You have a little alcohol, don't overdo it. And anything you do, do it in moderation and so on. And I always encourage people. So I'm not going to be the best candidate for things happening overnight, but anything could happen to anybody because we don't control anything. So it's unfortunate that when people would make statements as if they're wishing you go sick. Sickness is not something we should make joke with, Sickness will never should be something. It's unfortunate that nothing, no holds are barred when we're dealing with people that we don't like, because it has to be a mischievous element to have said that this hurt me. My wife was in hospital, and I went to see her, but I wasn't in hospital. So I don't know where this thing went on 4 weeks ago that I had collapsed. So if somebody heard that I went to see my doctor in New York or wherever, it's something I do every 6 months. Every 6 months I do a PSA, I do all my blood tests, I check cholesterol, I check everything. I don't play with this because I know that anything could happen. You could be good today and tomorrow something. In fact, I challenge men. The minute you reach 40, sometime earlier now because of some diseases are occurring 40, go check yourself, because the chances of survival, if you catch early in almost any disease, is high. The problem is when you wait too long, then it becomes a serious problem. And I'm fortunate my mom has given me very good genes, so I am fortunate in that respect. So if I take care of what they give me and I don't abuse it, and I'm not an abuser in any sense of the word, so I think I should be all right.
Well, I am sorry to hear that Mrs. Mitchell was unwell, and I noticed.
But I think that was known.
I noticed you referred to her as my wife. Does that mean the rumors, sir, that you had been divorced are not true, sir?
Calistro, don't go there. Don't go there.
You're a public figure, sir.
My private life. Don't go there at all. I just want to say this. I live people's private life for them because I know you won't want your private life to be exposed. None of us here want it. Leave my private life alone. Thank you.
PM, just two quick
Prime
questions
Minister, before you go,
please.
we have one final question from Rachel. Where were you? Rachel. Okay, so you have two questions.
No, I have one question.
Okay, very good.
One question, several parts. Rachel Bain, WPG10. My question is with regards to Petrocaribbean, right? In recent times, it was rebranded to Spice Gas. Is it under a new management? If so, who is the new management and why the change of name? And Petrocaribbean. Yes. And the second part of the question, it is categorized as a statutory body. Why its audit report was never laid in Parliament?
No, well, first of all, Petrocaribbean is still in existence. Remember, Petrocaribbean is not just a Grenadian company. Eh? Petrocaribbean is jointly owned by the what's the bank? PS. What's the bank? PDVS. PDVSA. PDVSA and the government of Grenada. We have 45%, they have 55%. So when people talk about debt, they have more in the debt here in Petrocarib than we have. So just be aware of this. So I'm not sure the spice gas is a gas they deliver because it's no longer Petrocarib gas. So calling it Petrocarib when in fact it doesn't come from Venezuela would not make sense. So I think that's why you see another name. It doesn't mean the company Petrocarib has gone into oblivion because there are serious assets that Petrocarib still has.
But is it under new management or the same old?
No, same Petrocarib is still being managed the same. We have members of the board has been changed, and that is something for almost any government corporation, whether it's Petrocarib, whether it's the airport authority, Spice Mass, whatever. These boards are changed, but the operation continues. And I believe the last audit has been made. I can't remember specifically, but there's no problem with Lane before because the facts are there. I think we have an idea of what funds are involved in the Petrocarib. There's not much expenditure in Petrocarib now because of the lack of serious activities. So what we have is a lot of assets and, of course, relatively debt that we have to deal with. But at the present situation, because we can't deal with financial Venezuela, it remains at a standstill.
PM, all right, and the final question this morning from Eugenia.
Yes, PM, quickly from me. Barbados and St. Lucia have issued Ebola alerts because of the situation in Congo. We have the movement of persons here for the carnival. Can you speak to Grenada's preparedness?
Have been made to also put systems in place to protect this country. We have made an announcement, but at the airport and other places, in fact, a serious discussion took place yesterday at Cabinet. We are very concerned about that situation, and we need to take action before things take us.
And just finally, the MRG proposal. Last question. The MRG proposal that was placed before government, LIAT, was there a final decision?
No, well, given that there was an understanding that all countries should participate to make it work, the fact that Grenada was the only one who came forward, no one can come to me. I tell you, until everybody has decided, nobody's coming back to me with any proposal yet. Until there is a final solution with management, orientation, changing of the whole structure, operations of LIAT and everything. And Grenada is prepared to play its part, but not under the present system of management structure and the lack of ownership, appropriate ownership that ensures that LIAT can survive. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thank you very much to members of the media who were with us for this morning's post-cabinet press briefing. We did start a little late and we went to be on time, but when you have the Prime Minister, that's understandable. Thank you again for joining us. To listeners and viewers, we'll see you again next time. Thank you.
Grenada's in for its 7th year of consistent growth, averaging over 5%. Unemployment was reduced by 20%, while debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 108% to 63.5%. NNP committed to the economic and social development of our people. NNP delivering on the promise.
I really love it. 2018 was great. 2019, this will be epic. This is me, Scholar, 2018 Calypso Monarch of Grenada, and I'm inviting one and all to come down to Grenada for Spice Mass, the greatest, biggest festival in all of the world. I'm inviting you to the Mardi Gras, where I will be chasing after history. This year, the Mardi Gras, this will be the greatest Mardi Gras of all the Mardi Gras. All the bards will be coming.
I want to tell Mr. Killer, come over, the message to lava, come over.
Man, if you want to win the monarchy, do head reduction surgery. They talk going around the tongue. Your head too big for the crown.
So listen to what I say. Forget Maurice CJ.
So what are you waiting for? Just book your ticket and come down. Last carnival was real bacchanal, and this year going to be the mother of all. Yeah, yeah. The boom boom going to ring. Heart is going to sing. Pam pam. Big up for Simon. Pam pam. For his contribution.
Only the few will see when you set the bar, but everyone will know when you've raised it.
Welcome to party. We are the greatest.
We have done it again in this, the era of greatness, with the biggest white.
We bring the most lights.
Watch greatness unfold with Mr. Killer, Wasways, and Lava Man, and more of Grenada's best, featuring headliner Marshall Montano and the Monk Band.
We great, absolutely.
Be at the National Cricket Stadium on Saturday, August 10th. Get your tickets now from GoToFed.com and all Sunshine Promotions box offices. The biggest white. It's where greatness lives.
We are the greatest.
Of unity for a party can come before country, government and opposition, Lord. But both of them we love pray. Oh, 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 bam, 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 bam. My Lord, thou hast made me strong, and I can speak boldly about a growing phenomenon that's affecting my small country. But there's a rise of gays and lesbians right across our state, and I'm sure in the near future for their rights they will demonstrate. They have crawled out from the closet, Lord, no more will they ever hide. That life of homosexuality is spreading far and wide, and who we against such an act, oh Lord. Human rights stands in our way, and with protection from donor countries, all we can do is pray. Lord, I pray you save this nation.
Yes, indeed. Once again, good morning to you. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And it is Hard Talk. We've just had the post-cabinet press briefing. That's the mid-year report, really, by Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. We're looking good on the financial and economic side, man. Yeah, we ain't looking too bad there. Gone down from 161 or somewhere there. GDP down to 40-something, I think, no? Yeah, man, we're looking good on that side there.
The projection for continued development and employment and so is great. I mean, that's what we want to hear.
There'll be continued employment, though the rate of employment in the construction sector is expected to contract a bit because some of the major projects will be winding up right now. But you have some other projects due to come on. We know only this Friday, we had the sod turning ceremony for that multi-million-dollar road and bridge project in St. Patrick, the northern part of the island. So you had the sod turning took place, I believe, on Friday last. Yeah, and that's a multi-million-dollar project.
It's been a long time now coming.
It's going to affect some of the bridges. It's going to deal with roads and so, but I think the first part they're going to be dealing mainly with the bridges.
Majority of the bridges within the St. Patrick's.
Some of those bridges date back to even before the Gary government.
Way before that.
Yeah, they date back to the colonial government, some of those bridges that we're talking about.
Late 1800s.
Yeah. So many of those bridges in the northern part of the island, they're going to be addressed. Rebuilt and so. And then following on that, then you're going to go directly into the rebuilding of the roads.
Especially there's a particular piece of road they call Gugu Bailey Hill. That's when you leave Hermitage going to
to Sautez.
That up that hill with the corner, the steep corner, so
with the two
the rocks on both sides. Yeah, they were doing some serious work
before you go down by Mark Joe and them.
Exactly, extending it and making it more, comfortable for passengers.
Feel I don't know St. Patrick's, eh? Try to pull our place on me. I feel I don't know what you're talking about.
So that will be a welcome project. Definitely for St. Patrick's. It's been in the pipeline for a long time, and government has been working tediously to ensure that it does materialize. And finally, the sword has been turned.
Yeah, so that is one major one that's going to be coming up.
Definitely.
Outside of that one, you've also have the turning that's going to come up for the hotel in St. David. Land's already transferred and so on, so you're going to have that one. That's going to provide some construction jobs again there. Outside of the road and bridge project in St. Patrick, that one is going to provide some. The Kimpton by Kowana, they continue apace with their construction taking place there just on the hills there in Montrouge. So that continues apace.
And there's a new project the Prime Minister was pointing to in the north of the island. Didn't get much details. Detail is not available, right?
Yeah.
With, as he said, some businessmen from Hong Kong. And so we definitely see lots of movement when it comes to tourism and infrastructural development within our country in the next 2 years. I would say you'll see a lot. There has been, as he indicated, there has been lots of movement between 2017 and 18. Take a lull in 19, but it will build back up again. And it's no surprise. Grenada is a perfect destination when it comes to tourism.
Yeah, and we're seeing those developments taking place also in the south of the island. You know, the Silver Sands project, the first part is near completed. Well, I could basically say they're completed now with phase 1. Now they're going to go, initially it was supposed to be one other project, but they're going to be doing 2 others. So they're going to be starting the second one and then going to project number 3. So you have that taking place. You have Pitti Calavini project continues. And outside of that, you have well, as we were saying earlier, behind the scenes, when you look at Tivoli, La Poterie area there right now, they're busy up on them ends.
Yeah.
They're busy up on those ends and so because that Carriacou project. Yeah, that Carriacou project continues to engage quite a number of people.
A number of young people, both male and female.
And strange, it's an agriculture project, which means that the agriculture figures would show some increase, a little because of that. Yeah. But some people have a problem with the fact that it's cane that's been planted in different areas that were fallow, that were basically, they were not under production. And they are now under production, be it with sugarcane, but they're under production. And this company is providing serious employment for a lot of people.
Employment, that's my point. The employment that it creates. Well, Sheldon, I made a pass around the St. David's, the Eastern Corridor. And I was amazed at certain areas that was basically swampland, basically rocky area that for more than 30, 40 years, maybe more, was never cultivated. Nothing was done to them. And right now you pass, you see 3-4 acres of cane, right? Preparing for to produce premium rum for export.
Not rum, brother.
Well,
not rum, cognac.
Well,
not rum. Just note.
But whatever it is for export.
No, whatever. The minister was here. Minister Oliver Joseph was here, and he did state it's not going to be rum. It's cognac. So it's a special type of liqueur, and as you said, it's for export. It's for export. So, and this is. I mean, to see that this is being done here, they could have gone to any other Caribbean island and done that. They could have gone to Trinidad, and they could have said, well, some of the lands that Caroni 1975 Limited had left behind there, they could have easily go there and do this project and things would have been much easier for them. They could have get all the cane in one area in the central part of Trinidad and do it, but they came to Grenada, and they're doing that project here. But outside of that, we've also seen that the Ministry of Agriculture, Devon, has gone back into some serious citrus production. You know, we had a problem for the past few years when it came to citrus because there was this disease. You would know better. You're more into agriculture than me. This disease that was affecting the citrus plants, but the propagation unit.
Citrus green or something like that.
Yeah, so they've gone into serious citrus production again. So the propagation unit is now providing citrus. And outside of that, remember, the soursop continues apace. We continue to be improving when it comes to the production of soursop and the volume of soursop that's being produced in Grenada for export. And
as a matter of fact, the Ministry of Agriculture stated that they have a couple thousand plants that they want to distribute to farmers this year alone.
Yeah, and you're also looking at some serious distribution as well as different spice plants, whether it's cinnamon or nutmeg and so on. And we've already revitalized to an extent the cocoa estates. And so a lot of people had the cocoa when it was under a set of bush and they cleaned that up. So cocoa production has been increasing steadily for the past few years. So when you talk about agriculture and jobs in the agricultural field, there's significant improvement there in that area. Yeah. Folks, it is 43 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. And before we go any further again, I want to make sure and remember two people today. Specifically, Miss Pauline Mark. I know I mentioned her last week, but I just want to mention her today again. Miss Pauline Mark, again, we send our condolences on behalf of the New National Party to the family of the late Miss Pauline Mark, who was personal assistant to the Honorable Alex. I'm so accustomed saying Alexandra Otway Noel. And also, another strong supporter of the New National Party that we lost in the south of the island, Miss Wendy Theodore, who passed to the great beyond in the past few days as well. So we continue to send our condolences on behalf of the New National Party and on behalf of the HARDTALK family to the families of both Pauline and Wendy. Yeah, that's two people. When you go rally and thing, they used to rally the troops and be at the rally. You understand? So organize. So we send again our condolences to the families of both of them. All right. Yeah, so Prime Minister also spoke several other areas, that issue that has come up in relation to the payments made for his security and so on. And he has confirmed what is taking place there and why it's taking place. And in growing up, I knew even my father, when he was working and so, sometimes they pay you for your vacation. They say, well, no, we can't afford for you to leave at this point in time. And they pay you for your vacation, especially if you offer a specialist service. It's not just that you are a police officer, but you offer a specialist service.
And as a Prime Minister, you have to be flexible when it comes to public officers and even police officers, and so when it comes to that. And that was something that was brought in, if I'm not mistaken, by the Tillman Thomas-led government, right, in terms of cutting out what and what. But in the case of security, right, that is a special case, and we should not be even making any qualms about that, because the security, right, of the office of the Prime Minister is paramount, very important, right, together with the head of state. And so these are positions that must be guarded with special emphasis, and there must not be no compromise at all. It will definitely cost the state something extra, but it is necessary to ensure the security of the head of state and the Prime Minister. All right, so there's no question and debate as to what, has to be done. It has to be done. It has to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Devon, I don't know if you want to open up the phone lines for the next 15 minutes. Someone may call. We can open the phone lines for the next few minutes, 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101.
Yeah, abbreviated program today because, we just have about 15 minutes remaining on the program. Abbreviated program. We had Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell giving the mid-year review, and in specific the mid-year economic review. Things continue to look enviable for the Grenadian economy going into the second half of 2019, and looking at some of the projections for 2020 and beyond. Some serious projections there.
And if you should stay close, just look at the festive seasons right here, so in terms of the arrivals of persons coming from abroad who went on vacation, who went on work, and they'll be returning around that time. You'll see an increase, an influx of persons coming in, and we welcome that, right? Because as a country, we need all what we can get, especially with foreign exchange.
And the mid-year tourism review showed some increases for the first part of the year over last year, except in one or two areas. I think it was kind of flat when it came to yachting. But as we know now, the insurance companies have been telling the yachts that they need to come to Grenada. They tell them, don't go Trinidad, too far south, pirate attacks, all sort of thing. They just found a fifth body of one of the fishermen out there in Trinidad who was attacked. No, not by people from the Spanish Main, by people from Trinidad itself. Yeah? And so they just found the body of fisherman number 5 yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, fisherman number 5 was found yesterday. 2 more remain missing for the last week. They went missing last week, Sunday or Monday, I believe it was. They went missing. So the insurance companies are telling the yachties, don't go down there. Grenada is safe territory. You're at the edge of the hurricane belt, which means that your probability of being struck by a weather system is much lower than if you're further north. And your possibility of ending up in some sort of pirate attack, because we saw a boat having to come into Grenada a couple months ago with bullet holes in it after being attacked in waters between Trinidad and Grenada coming up. And so they're saying that you're safe in Grenadian waters. So it's best that you moor your boat, or you anchor, or you dry dock in Grenada for the duration of the hurricane season. And they're offering better rates to them if they're willing to stay in Grenada than if they go further south or if they go further north. Yeah, so they're giving them much better rates for that. Yeah. Also, we continue to offer our condolences to the family of Tomo. Yeah, Dr. Winston Thomas. We continue to offer our condolences to his family as well. Folks, we said the phone lines are open, and we go to the phone lines.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, this is talking to Tim from Trinidad and Tobago.
Hello, yeah?
Yeah, this is talk here.
Mm-hmm.
Go right ahead.
No,
Go right
I'm
ahead.
here speaking about what's happening in the fishermen in Trinidad. Trinidad is fastly becoming not a safe place for businessmen to come in to set up any form of business because of the crime rate in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow, okay.
You know, I mean, come on, look at 5 fishermen just wash up on the shore. Nobody have any idea what happened to them. You know, I mean, it's a very sad thing for the families to witness these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see. I've seen the stories. I know it was 10 of them. Three swam to shore, and they were able to identify that it was Trinidadians that had done that to them and stolen the boat engines and so. The engines were found in sea lots.
They blame it on the Venezuelans,
Yeah.
but they are Trinidadians who actually behind these scenes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, so right now the insurance companies are telling the boats before, a lot of yachts used to come down to Trinidad and they would stay down there during the hurricane season. Now the insurance companies are telling them straight, don't go to Trinidad. They're telling them, come to Grenada, don't go to Trinidad. They're telling them.
Because I'm in Grenada right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm watching the program, but just a week ago, they had 12 murders in one day in Trinidad.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, and I think this is the bloodiest month in Trinidad history.
I think 50-something murders in total so far for the month.
Yeah, I think it's more than that.
Yeah, somewhere around 50-something murders for the month. Yeah. All right, my brother. Thank you very much.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
Wow, almost two murders per day.
But when you hear about these sort of things taking place in another country, that's the point in time. You have to look at your Royal Grenada Police Force, and you have to tell them thanks.
Yeah.
And you also have to look at yourself as Grenadians and say thanks, because
we are blessed.
Yeah, it's as we always say on this program, it's several things. There is one, we get involved. We as Grenadians, we get involved. If there's something taking place, we get involved. We ain't go see you harassing a tourist and so on and leave you harassing the tourists. Somebody gonna get involved. We ain't go hear somebody screaming and not go to try and find out what's going on. We as Grenadians, we always get involved. And something happened, about 12 of us ready to go to court already. Let a police officer stop a bus and the people on the bus find that the police officer are wrong. About 3 or 4 of them, bus driver, when you're going to court, I'm going with you. We always willing to go to court and willing. So the people who do certain things, they can't get away because as a people, we always willing to go that extra mile. I think we have a call online.
Hey, good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon.
Good morning, my friend.
Everything?
All right.
Yeah, Brother Devon and Sheldon, the St. George Northwest NMB executive, I want to send out condolences to Brother Winston Thomas on passing away on his passing away of Mr. Winston Thomas, doctor. He's a great doctor, a doctor that will care and love people, and he care and love people and demonstrate the care for the people of Greater Carriacou. He was a wonderful doctor, and so he will be greatly missed. So we, the St. John Northwest NMB executive, we sympathize with his family, And Brother Devon, the Prime Minister was on the program this morning, and looking at the unemployment rate at the time when NNP came in 2013, to present time it was 40%, but now it is 16%. And it is going down, it's going down. Because see, this is a government that care and they solve the problem of the Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitamatic people. And they are doing wonderful work, right? You can see when you have a government that is united and they reach out and bring development, right? You find a piece of stability in the country. So I want to say kudos to the government for the wonderful work they are doing. You speak about tourism, emerging tourism, agriculture, right? You speak about construction. Yes, that is important. It's important. So I want to say the government is on the right track and they are doing what they are elected to do. So congratulations to the government and our brother who continues to make Grenada proud, Damian Daniel. Right? When a man go there to represent Grenada, only one thing is seeing the eyesight, winning. I want to say congratulate him, let him keep up the good work that he is doing, and we are 100% behind him. Well, Devon, Sheldon, you all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, indeed. 440-7377.
347-329-3101. And I must say good morning to all of you on the live who have joined us wherever you are, who have been with us since 10 o'clock, this morning. And all your comments, we appreciate it and everything like that. Oh, I have a Mr. Watts. Kami says good morning and thank you for whatever. All right, Depot, you too. She says good morning and thank you very much. All right. She wanted me to let you all know that she went to funeral in St. Patrick's. Today is the burial of Bubla.
Bubla, yeah. Today is the funeral of Lincoln Bubla. Yeah, man. Calypsonian par excellence. Yeah, man. So, yeah. He's going to his final resting place today.
His body.
Yeah. Also, at another funeral I was supposed to be attending today, and I just remembered. Yeah, there's another funeral I was supposed to attend
Can anyone, I've lost information. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to your listening audience. Well, I must say that I listened to the Prime Minister's entire press conference this morning. And all I'm going to say, based on what he has said, is that I can understand the NDC's frustration because there is no light at the end of the tunnel for them. It's a dark hole. But listen, the NDC future leader was on radio this morning and regarding the situation with the Prime Minister personal security detail and what he took responsibility for in terms of paying these guys so they can remain. But did you know, listen to what the future leader of the NDC said. She don't see what is so special about these persons. Any police officer can do that. And all I can say on that statement is, duh. This is people that lacks the ability to understand what personal security is all about. Yes, we can have 1,000 police officers, but sometime out of this 1,000, maybe it's 50 or 60, the Prime Minister of the day feel comfortable in terms of having as his personal security detail. I know time is brief, but give me a few seconds here. Now, Mr. Scott and Mr. Romain, when one verbally expresses the support for a political party or government, it's been said that they are singing for the supper. My question is, what's wrong with that? Mr. Scott, if I'm singing for my supper and I'm getting fed the same meals like Bis, Scholar, Rootsman Kelly, and Ajamu, I would like to think that I am well rewarded for singing. Now, supporting the NNP for me is very easy because the NNP have a positive record and a story to be told in terms of delivery, because the only government that have had any meaningful impact on the lives of the Grenadian people is the NNP. No one can deny that. So Yes. So some may choose to focus on the negative. I respect that, but I choose the positive because the positive outweighs the negatives by leaps and bounds. And the results of the last two general elections has proved just that. Gentlemen, have a pleasant day.
Thank you very much, Kuala. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We just have a couple minutes remaining. But before we run out of time today, I would like to read a statement that has been put out by the Chief Executive Officer of Mount Pure. And it says, the recent weeks have been a roller coaster. Many rumors have been going around social media. I've held my tongue up to this point, but I am going to speak. At the outset, I must do the mature thing and publicly acknowledge that the situation at the Spice Mass Corporation headquarters could have been handled better. There is no doubt there. I allowed my passion and emotion and desire to create more jobs to get the upper hand. The Spice Mass Corporation Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Jacob, could have been calmer and more level-headed and could have dealt with the matter more diplomatically. However, I understand what it is like to manage something as big as Carnival. It can have you on edge. Mr. Jacob, I hope we can organize a meeting in the upcoming week to publicly resolve any lingering resentment that we may have for each other. I'm a woman who believes in forgiveness and righting wrongs. I know the time is ripe to deliver a very special Spice Mass. I just want you to know that I'm willing to meet and make peace. I will not be pressing any charges, and I don't want to see you lose your job. You have had an excellent start, and we need to wipe the slate clean. We have to stay focused on a mission to create a better Grenada. I remember being in England at an event where our Prime Minister, Dr. Mitchell, spoke. He said something that resonated with me. Dr. Mitchell said he doesn't care whether people are NNP or NDC. His main concern is to build Grenada. To do this, we must all work together as one people. Those simple words reinforce my desire to invest my time and money in my country and to play my role in building a brighter and more prosperous Grenada for the generations to come. This is what Mount Pure is about. The present dispute is bigger than Spice Mass and selling a few bottles of water during Carnival. Our team at Mount Pure analyzed the economic year of Grenada and recognized that Carnival is a time when our economy booms. We decided to use this period to double our shifts to provide some additional jobs to the many people in Grenada who are unemployed. When we sent our advertisement announcing we were hiring, we received 2,000 applications. So this situation with Spice Mass Corporation affects working Grenadians. People were at home awaiting a call to report to work. Mothers were banking on the opportunity to earn an income to help send their children back to school. Women hoped for a double shift to make extra cash to fix their leaking roofs. These things trouble me, and at the same time, I'm determined to work harder to create more jobs for my people. The court matter is not just about Mount Pure. It is about giving everyone a fair shot at earning a piece of the pie. We just want to know that bidding and tendering is open to all and is equitable and transparent. At present, do you know that every year Grenada imports millions of dollars worth of water? Even when there are 4 very good water companies here on the island. I support of all the Grenadian water companies working together to create more jobs and to effectively supply the entire island. Water is essential to life, and demand for it will always be there. If our brothers and sisters at Glenelg, Poli, and Blue are open to it, we at Mount Pure are willing and ready to engage in talks, plans, and actions to jointly step up our water production and increase our standards of operation. This would help reduce the millions of dollars that we presently spend on water from outside of Grenada, even though we have local water like Mount Pure, which was recently placed 3rd in the Premier International Water Competition. In closing, I want to say that I'm fully on board with Dr. Mitchell's vision for building a better Grenada, and Mount Pure intends to play a big part in this process. I want to wish everyone a fantastic Spice Mass 2019. As you have fun and enjoy yourself in the Mass, please be responsible, be respectful, be safe, be your brother's keeper, and most importantly, stay hydrated. God bless you all. Mount Pure CEO, Miss Rolanda McQueen. And that's a press release from Mount Pure. Just thought it important to let you all hear from Miss McQueen. It's been a topical issue in the past few weeks. But folks, we're also out of time. That's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. Yeah. So we are out of here. And whatever you say, whatever you do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you.
Not about you.
We are out of here.
Peace out.
Oh, before
Only
we go,
the few
remember the
will see
rebroadcast
when you
by
set the bar, but everyone will know when you've raised it.
Welcome to party. We are the greatest.
We have done it again in this, the era of greatness, with the biggest white.
We bring the most vibes.
Watch greatness unfold with Mr. Killer, Sways, and Lava Man, and more of Grenada's best, featuring headliner Marshall Montano and the Monk Band.
We great, absolutely.
Be at the National Cricket Stadium on Saturday, August 10th. Get your tickets now from GoToFed.com and all Sunshine Promotions box offices. The biggest white. It's where greatness lives.
We are the greatest.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.